We'll see if we can get through this one. All right, homework 18 is now going to talk about a different kind of distribution, which is the F distribution.
Oh, I think I need this one. Sorry.
Man, they just didn't give you anything in your binder, did they?
I was actually missing so much. I think like 5 or 6 things so far.
I wonder who copied that. All right. We'll give her a second to kick out of there. Hopefully it's a little faster since we've printed something. All right, so this first part again is just using the Alex calculator and knowing how to do the p-value and the critical value, just like we did with the z-test and the chi-squared and the x-test, all of that. This is just a different distribution. So if you have your Alex open or you have your Alex calculator.
My vote says calculator unavailable for this question.
We'll go to a different question. Let's see if we can get to a different one where we have a calculator that is active. Yeah, maybe it probably should be maybe through that one. There we go.
Okay.
So on our Alex calculator, you'll see the last P1 is P of F. Again, the P of F is greater than, so that's going to the right. If we're doing the left, we have to do 1 minus, right? Just like we did before on all the other ones. So we want to do P of F is less than or equal to 1.19. So we're going to do 1 minus that because on the calculator it does greater, we want the less. So 1 minus P of F is greater than 1.19 is how we're going to do that to calculate our number. Oh, this one I think we do have a numerator degree of freedom and denominator degree of freedom. I better remember those. 1.19. And then this one has a degree of freedom for the numerator and a degree of freedom for the denominator. So when you click that, you'll see DFN, which is the numerator one, which is 28. And then you'll have DFD, degree of freedom for the denominator, which is your 40. So on the t-test, we just had that 1 degree of freedom, and same thing with chi-squared. For your f-test, you have both a numerator and denominator degree of freedom. You'll see why later. So that's what we're going to punch into our Alex calculator, and we're going to get our answer to 3 decimal places, it says. .698, yep. 0.698. That is what we're finding when we find the p-value on all of that hypothesis testing. Now we're doing what they're doing for the critical value. Remember when they ask you for the critical value, that's when you're doing the sub thing. Again, it's going to do greater than on Alex. And this one is a greater than. So if it's a greater than, you're just going to use that value. And so I am going to do F sub 0.05 since it's a greater than. And then I have to do my degree of freedom again. So my degree of freedom for my numerator is 46. My degree of freedom for my denominator, 41. So when we do our hypothesis testing, we have those 2 different kind of test values. The p-value, which is a percentage, the critical value, which is the cutoff point as far as your numerical comparison. Rounding to, oh, this one just says we have to round to at least 2 decimal places. 1.66. 1.66 then. Okay.
It's not turning out
Oops.
how it's supposed to.
Let me peek and see which one you're using.
This first one, right?
Oops, nope, that's the one for the top one where you have the P of. This one is just the one with the subscript.
This one?
So where is that one at? There it is, right there. F sub.
Oh,
Okay? So if it asks for the P value, you use the one with the P. Critical value, you use the subscript one. Now you're getting 1.66?
okay. Yeah.
Alrighty. So on number 2 then, we want to do between two numbers. So if we're going to do between two numbers, we're just going to basically subtract the two values. So we're going to do P of F is greater than 0.74 minus the P of F is greater than 1.17. That would give you the part that's in the middle. Oh, and I forgot my degree of freedom again. They're going to ask you for your degree of freedom. I'm going to have on both of them, the degree of freedom for my numerator is 48. The degree of freedom for my denominator going to be 20. You'll have to put that on both of those. You know, when you click on it, it gives you the little boxes for that, so you'll remember to do those. So if you punch that into 3 decimal places is where we want to carry this answer.
So it's on the third line, that one?
The one with the P of F.
Okay.
Oops, wait a minute. Are you in the second part of that?
I don't know.
Because you're doing between two numbers, you're going to do this one first,
Oh,
the
okay.
smaller one, and then you're going to subtract the bigger.
Okay, so the one that I was on, that's the right one?
So if that's the right one, you're going to put in both parts because you're going to find the part in the middle. So you're going to just take the first one minus the second one. Okay, 0.74 with a degree of freedom on my numerator of 48. On my denominator, it's 20. And then on the outside of that, put your minus sign. And then you're going to do the P of F again. And then you're going to do the second number, 1.17. The degree of freedom again for your numerator was 48. And your denominator was 20. And so, 3 decimal places, my answer is
0.445.
Yep. So when it has you do between two numbers, you're just going to subtract the two, the first one minus the second one. Here's another critical value. My critical value here again is greater. If it's a greater, we're just going to use the number there. And so we're going to do F sub 0.05. Degree of freedom in my numerator is going to be 7. The degree of freedom in my denominator, 48. So that's the one we're going to do the F sub. If it's a greater, just use the number that's there. And again, this just says to 2 decimal places. 2.21 is what we should be getting. There we go. Yep. So, number 3, we want to find our p-value. And We are doing less than. If we're going to do the less than, what do we have to do with that? 1 minus. So 1 minus P of F is greater than 0.88. It's a greater than, we can just use it, but if it's a less than, 1 minus that. The degree of freedom in my numerator is 39, and the degree of freedom in my denominator, 40.
Okay, which one do I use?
Use the one with the P. 1 minus P of F. Did you do the 1 minus in front? Yep. Okay. 0.88. Yep. Degree of freedom in the numerator was 39. The degree of freedom in the denominator is 40. Whoa, undo. Oops. All right, now type your 40 in. I think you had it highlighted, so try to erase everything. There we go. All right. So, to 3 decimal places we got
0.345.
0.345, right. Okay, now we're doing a critical value. Again, this is a greater than. Since it's a greater than, we can just use our number. Critical value, we use the subscript one. So F sub 0.1. The degree of freedom in my numerator is going to be 12, and the degree of freedom in my denominator, 15. And then we're just going to put that in our calculator.
Could you put it in this calculator too, or no?
No, got to use
Just
the
Alex.
Alex one.
Three places?
2 places on this one.
2.02.
2.02. If you go farther than 2 places, you're okay, because it just says at least 2. So if you did do 3 places, it's still going to count it right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.